It was passed in '72, that's 36 years ago. Who would have thought that today, 36 years later, we'd still be trying to get equal opportunity? The law is only about fairness. That's all it's about. I was born and brought up in Scotland, just outside Edinburgh. And as a child, my parents encouraged me to take part in sport. And I did. I was an athlete competing at the age of 11. And I naively thought that every little girl had that opportunity across the world. I was sadly mistaken. Looking back, Title IX, in my opinion, was the most important piece of federal legislation that was passed in the 20th century for women in this nation. And I can't underscore that enough. The right to vote came up first in 1848 at Seneca Falls, but it took 72 years for women to get that right to vote. 72 years in our country. That's unbelievable to me. The first time I believed that the right to equal opportunity came up was 1920, and it took 52 years to get that passed. And that was Title IX, 1972. I never ever, for one moment, dreamt that we would be at 2008 and still not in compliance with Title IX, because Title IX is a law about fairness. That is all it's about. Being fair to our daughters and our granddaughters in the same way that we're fair to our sons and grandsons. And that fact gets lost along the way. We're still discriminating today. I am the first to admit we've come a long way. We really have come a long way. But we should have come further. We should have reached equal opportunity, and we haven't. I don't think either our young women or our young men know enough about Title IX. They don't know the history of it. They think what we have today for women has always existed, which is a complete myth. And we need to do such a good job of educating both our young men and our young women about the intent of Title IX, the progress that's been made, but also what still needs to get done. I believe that both young men and young women would probably say, of course we want our daughters to be treated as well as our sons. But they don't think about it. And they don't think they need to be active to ensure that we keep progressing forward. We have seen attacks on Title IX over the last 3.5 decades, repeated attacks. And we've managed to retain it, which is the wonderful news. But the other side of the coin is these attacks could continue and they could weaken Title IX. And I have faith in the next generation not to allow that to happen, but we've got to bring them up to speed about what has happened in the past, what to prepare for, and how to be activists in this area if they do want their sons and daughters to be treated equally. You can't just sit back and expect it. Recently, the threats have come from our own federal government, I'm sad to say. They're not enforcing Title IX. In fact, there have been 2 big attempts to weaken Title IX. They haven't succeeded, thanks in large part to the reaction of people like Miles Brand, the president of the NCAA, who has helped enormously to keep Title IX intact, and to some of the presidents who did stand up 2 or 3 years ago to say, we do support Title IX. Although the presidents of our universities have been very slow to assist in all of this revolution, I haven't given up all hope that they are going to demand from their athletic departments equal opportunity for girls and women in sport. And I think if the presidents would take that leadership role, we could see amazing things in the next decade. I mean, real equal opportunity. And I've so often said, if we could ever get real opportunity in athletics, we will have real opportunity across all aspects of our society. So I intend to keep working in that area because it's so worthwhile. It's worthwhile from an athletic standpoint, but even more so from a societal standpoint about the role of women in the USA. We have changed that role forever, but we've got to keep changing it until it's equal. Let me tell you an astonishing fact. About a decade ago, they did a survey of countries in the world with regard to the percentage of women who were in the federal governments. The USA ranked 41st in the world. And that was a real disappointment to a lot of people, and a real surprise, I may add. Do you know what the recent ranking is? 71st. I would say to our lawmakers, we have been boasting for 2 centuries that we are the greatest democracy that has ever existed. How in clear conscience can we claim that when we are 71st in the world with opportunities for women to help govern our nation? How?